Alright, so using kiwi polish, application brush, polish the boot, ensuring that you get polish in every single corner of the boot, most important, sole of the boot, side of the boot. Try to get polish on the side of the boot. Personal standard. Get all dust away. Now you can apply polish with your finger, piece of cotton or piece of cloth. Personal preference. They call this what we know as caking the boot. Basically what it is just applying a layer of polish so that you can actually slick this film or layer of polish rather than slicking the raw leather of the polish. You would not achieve a shine or a slick. A nice thin coating of polish on the area that you would like to slick. Nice and even. Get it into all the cracks, so you have a nice even coating of polish under the boot. Now you need to let the boot set, so you need to allow the polish to dry before you actually start to slick it. Otherwise you will just slick off the coating or the film that you just put. So what are the suggestions? You can put it in the sun, allow the sun to dry it. However, you have to monitor it, because when the sun, the polish with the heat, it will start to melt. You don't want it to melt off completely. You don't want it to run off completely. So once you see it start to melt, you take it out of the sun and put it in the cool to dry, so that it can fill up in all the pores of the boot, all the cracks, and you get an even film of polish. Or you can use a lighter and what we call burn the boot, flame the boot, and you burn the boot to achieve the same purpose. Melt the polish, get it into the pores, so you have a nice thin even layer. However, this is not necessary. You don't have to use this. So I applied a polish, I applied a thin coating, right? Let's assume that that polish, that coating would have dried already. This boot is already, it has been used already, so it already have a previous cake on the boot. What you want to do is shine the boot at this point. Use a piece of cloth, or for me, my personal preference, an old sock. Dip the sock in some water. Just get it slightly damp, bring out the excess water. And this is where you shine your boot, or what we like to say, you buff the boot. Vigorously, as vigorous as possible, right? Whatever you're using, make sure it's nice piece of cotton, so it will like get a good shine. The sole of the boot is very important. You want all part of the leather to actually shine. Every single part of the leather to shine. That's the objective. Under the boot. And this basically what you're doing in shining this, you would be removing the excess polish from the boot. Now the more you do this, the more you'll get a shine. Experience have shown that a piece of stocking does wonders in getting your boot to shine. Alright, if you look carefully, you would already see a shine coming in and all the excess polish would have been removed. At this point in time, we can now proceed with actually the slicking process of the boot. Now this is where you want to pay very close attention. You remove a piece of cotton. There are two types of slick. There are what we know as a dry slick and a wet slick. A dry slick is not using any water at all. You use the polish and you start a slick. That is known as a dry slick. This slick is one of the better slick in that it will last for very long. It can weather many parades and still have a relatively good slick or shine. However, it takes very long to come in. The slick takes very long. We have a wet slick with water. You wet the cotton, squeeze out some water, apply polish, and you start a slick. However, the advantage of this is that your slick comes in very quick. So if you only have 5 minutes to get on parade, this is a method that you could use. However, because it's water based on the slick, when the sun hits the slick, it will dull the slick very quickly. As soon as the sun hits it, it will dry up all the liquid in the polish, and your slick, it will dull your slick. I use a combination of both, whereby wet the cotton, squeeze out as much water as possible. So you have a relatively moist piece of cotton. Now, the polish, in your kiwi polish, there is an oil. The oil is what you're actually using to slick the boot. Not a whole set of polish. You don't need a whole set of polish. You'll actually be wasting the polish. So what you do is you apply slight pressure onto the cotton. Slight pressure, and when you raise the cotton off, this is what you will see. Notice you're seeing a halo. What the cotton absorbed was the actual oil from in the polish, and this is what you need to start your slick. Start slicking in a circular motion. Circular motion. If you have a shot like mine, it shouldn't take more than 10 minutes for your slick to come in. I will actually slick my pair of boots in 5 minutes using the same method. I didn't use any fire, I didn't use any flame, I didn't use any heat nor sunlight. And if you look carefully, the slick is starting to develop. If at any point in time you see circular strokes or scrapes or scratches on your boot, it's because there is lint or particles in your cotton. You may want to change it or turn it around. To get the scratches out of the boot, what do? Take a polish, take a very little bit, tap the polish, and proceed again to get scratches off of your boot. If you look carefully, you would already see slick coming in. I'm only 25% finished, and this is what I've accomplished in a matter of minutes. Achieving the same under the boot is important. Personal standard. Notice that is already coming in. Side of the boot. Again, absorb some of the oil from your polish. Proceed. Again, in a few minutes, the slick is already developing. Now it is very important to note that all these areas here should not be dull. Your sole should not be dull. It should have a shine as well. So what you can do is just take the wet piece of cotton and attempt to shine these areas. Sole and your body of your boot. And with this same process, you would achieve or start to achieve a boot that looks like this. And this is only 50% finish. And achieving 100% with this same process, this boot will then be parade ready, sharp. Always remember, consistency leads to standard, and standard leads to tradition.